All right, we're gonna go ahead and kick it off. We're a little bit behind on starting a solo conference call, but we're here to talk about specifically for Ironman Des Moines 70.3 2020. We're starting a discussion. This is the first week we're starting. I got the chat window up, so you join in anytime. You can post a question in there. I'll kind of keep checking over to see if there are any questions coming up as I go through. If you missed this, you're watching this now in the recording, so don't fear if for some reason you run out of time or just can't sit through the video. You can always watch it later. I'll repost it on an unlinked or unpublished YouTube video, so it's not just out there for everybody, but you guys will get to watch it at your leisure. Which, you know, if you're riding your trainer early in the morning during the middle of the winter, it's a great time to catch up on these videos. So we'll just kind of jump right into it. We're going to tackle on first. I heard the most about, especially kind of in this group, is kind of getting a handle on nutrition. That seems to be a big topic these days. So specifically, I wanted to just start in this group with that conversation, especially now, you know, we're getting into the off season, you're rolling into Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. It's easy to kind of get off the wagon, and then January rolls around and you kind of have to reassess where you're at and get back on track. What I found works the best is kind of making a lifestyle. You know, you don't have to be strict. I'm not a big fan of fad diets, keto, no carbs, all that kind of stuff. I want people to live a life and be real and be able to sustain it. So I have just some recommendations that I kind of follow that kind of work well for me and work well for my athletes. So let's kind of break it up in little chunks. This first week, we're going to kind of talk about, you know, what you're doing all that other time besides when you're training or racing. So we're not really jumping into the nutrition for the races and the training sessions quite yet. We're getting there. This will be kind of a weekly deal. So like I said, if you watch this video and you have any questions, tune in later. You reply to the emails if you have any questions. We can hit those topics and later weekly conversations. So kind of jumping into it, and I'll move my little video here so I'm not in the way of the text. Fuel and nutrition for endurance-minded athletes, part one, insights and non-training time. So I guess kind of want to give you a little bit of background of kind of my influences, and then a little idea that there's a difference between nutrition and fuel. You know, fuel is kind of what I view and what I've gleaned from others that I follow. It's more about what you're doing for your races, and then nutrition is all the other time outside of that. So it definitely, nutrition affects your fueling, and fueling affects your nutrition. I did want to throw out there that if you read right here, I am not a licensed nutritionist. So I can give you recommendations, but I can't give you specific meal plans and here's what you eat and here's your portions, here's your calories, your weight, you know, how many grams of protein, how many grams of carbs you should be eating. I'm going to give you kind of basic guidelines specifically because, you know, there are a lot of different types of people that are going to be in this group, and a lot of different types of people, you know, their systems interact different, their metabolic efficiencies are a little bit different. So there's not one size fits all type of program. So I'm going to be pretty general and vague, and that kind of fits in well since I don't have a nutrition license. So these are kind of a couple of people that I kind of follow, and Matt Dixon, he's been getting out there with his podcast for Purple Patch Fitness. A lot of his philosophy I find myself agreeing with wholeheartedly. Like I said, you're viewing nutrition and fueling as a way to sustain, not necessarily a fad. You know, diet up, diet down, race weight, and all that kind of stuff. You have to be able to live life, and if you're going to make yourself miserable living on a diet, quote, and then when you lose the weight, and then you go off your diet, and then you gain the weight back, it's very frustrating. It's kind of a cyclical. You just want to kind of get off the yo-yo. So you need to find something that kind of works all the time. I also follow Kayla channel, Nutrition Revolution. She's done a few podcasts out there, a few publications, and she kind of in that same boat, kind of gel with what we're thinking. So nutrition versus fuel. So it's all food, but timing is everything. So depending on what you're doing and when you're taking it is kind of where I dice it up between fuel and nutrition. So specifically, you know, for the athletes that I coach one-on-one, this is also important because if I'm talking about nutrition or fuel, you know what I'm talking about. Other coaches may use different terms and different terminology. So always get a good idea of whoever you're going to with your nutrition advice, you know, what the difference is. So fuel is what you do immediately before, during, immediately after training. So we'll touch on that a little bit for this, but I don't need updates right now. Sorry about that. So we're gonna go. Fueling is kind of right up before training or races, and right up after. we're kind of touch on this in this presentation a little bit, just so you kind of get a good idea of going into your workouts, what you're doing, especially if you're engaged in the off-season training plan. If you have any questions on that, let me know. But you should be kicking that off here, especially if you don't have any races or anything up until Des Moines 70.3 in 2020. Nutrition is all the other meals throughout the day. So breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, kind of what you're doing the rest of the day. And that's basic difference between nutrition and fuel. So it's kind of, I just kind of ran through it, but like I said, fuel, nutrition, and all the rest of it. So I want to touch on before and after workouts. Like I said, we'll kind of get into that a little bit more later. But what you do before and after workouts will have a huge implication on how your workout goes and then how your body responds after the workout, as far as recovery, repair, and feeling fresh after races or after training. So the timing is crucial. What you do pre-workout, what you do post-workout. Always try to see a little bit of some protein, some carbs. The carbs help get the protein to the cells and muscle fiber. Whole foods, like real food. Don't there's Cliff Bars and all the other products that are out there for endurance athletes. I would rather see somebody eat a chicken sandwich, with real food, not prepackaged meals. I know in this day and age, it's kind of hard to get away from, but there are ways, even like a peanut butter jelly sandwich, try to get the natural peanut butter. It only has like so many, 3 ingredients so you can pronounce them all. And also, I want to hit on minimal fat. It's not digestible for post-workout. I'll talk more about fats later, but you want to be fat adapted. But after workouts, they're not as digestible. You can't process them as quickly and immediately after workout, especially intense ones or long ones. You need that fuel as quick as possible. So fats aren't the best time to be eating them right after a workout. And antioxidants, a lot of people push that, but it slows adaptation. It's more better for 2 hours after workout, so don't take it immediately after. Like I said, we'll dive more into this. I'm kind of ripping through these pretty quick. If you got any questions, just type them up. But we'll hit more on that later. 45 to 60 minutes after workout is a golden window for post-race nutrition. So your nutrition kind of plays into that, because if you got to work out and you're eating something right afterwards, that plays in the bigger picture of nutrition overall. If you want to kind of, keep what you're eating in check and keep a quote race weight, or just, you don't want to have an intense training session for 90 minutes. You have your pre-workout, during your workout, and then post-workout, and then you don't account for that. I do account for that. Some people don't in your overall nutrition for your day. You don't want to go overboard on the rest of the meals throughout the day. And depending on when you do it during the day, kind of affects how you kind of play your nutrition game for the rest of the day. So the workouts do have an impact on your regular nutrition. And all workouts are the same. So anything less than 60 minutes before and during may not be required aside from hydration. Me personally, when I do my morning workouts, I really don't. I bring either a bottle of water, or I have UCAN mixed in with some water and some other like a drinking enhancer, give it a little bit of flavor. And I just sip that during my rides in my basement, or if I go for a run, I'll sip something real quick if it's less than 60 minutes. Pre-workout for anything greater than 60 minutes for intense workouts may require 20 to 30 grams easy digestible carbs, like a banana, regular toast, small meal, not a full meal. So yeah, if you're going to go do an intense workout, it's over 60 minutes, you're doing a long run or something like that, that's the time to kind of look into, maybe you do a GU or something like that before you go out, or just do a quick banana. Stay away from fiber, because if you've got GI issues, you'll be running off to the bathroom in the middle of your workout. So definitely avoid fiber before the long workouts. But once you're getting into those longer workouts and possibly more intense workouts, you want to think a little bit more about that pre-workout nutrition. I know it's, like I said, this day and age, it's hard to wake up early and then eat and then go out and do a workout. A lot of people don't like to work out on when you've had something in their stomach. So something very small, like even a spoonful of peanut butter, just to have something in your stomach, to have something to work on and give you a little bit of energy before you do that workout, or something to sustain you until you get into using your training nutrition for your workout. So keep that in mind for before and after. All the other times outside of training and nutrition. So all that other time outside of training, that's where I kind of look at nutrition. So these are just kind of rules of thumb to go by. By no means is this kind of set in stone. I don't want you guys thinking that, I'm telling you that this is, and I'm pulling up some notes here. So I'm not dodging and weaving past my screen to see everything. So what I want to say is, this is the kind of the rules of thumb, like I said, that I use every day to kind of help guide me. It's not strict. I don't want to be a Nazi about my food. I used to use MyFitnessPal, track my food down to the calories and grams and everything. It was time consuming. It was kind of actually stressful because then you go, oh my gosh, I only got like 500 calories left to eat my dinner, but you have to take into account, well, some of it was pre-race or pre-workout, post-workout nutrition during workout, so a little bit of that. And then, MyFitnessPal takes in your calories and your workout. It was a pain. So I kind of broke it down and made it as simple as possible. One thing, carbs are not the enemy. That's why I don't do like the fad diets. I don't enjoy keto, no carb, whatever. If that's the way that you found works well for you to lose weight and it's sustainable long term, then hey, go for it. But this day and age, it is so hard, to live through life and a busy life, trying to avoid carbs or trying to avoid prepackaged meals and always trying to meal, people don't have time to meal prep their entire day or entire week. And that's the kind of people that I work with on a typical basis. And, somebody has ice cream one night or somebody goes out and they're traveling for work for a week and all you've got is hotel food. That's what you have to work with. And, you don't want to just go over there and eat a small little cup of yogurt and then try to make it through the morning of trying to pay attention and be alert. It's just not real. So carbs are not the enemy. Endurance-minded people you actually need carbs to train, race, and recover. So if you lead a low-carb lifestyle, you may not have that energy. People have found ways to make it work, but overall, if you're trying to do low carb and you find yourself kind of dragging ass throughout the day, more than likely you're not getting enough carbs throughout the day or at some point to sustain you in the workouts you're doing. So the right balance of carbs at the right time will unlock the potential to improve. So where you're eating your carbs in your day can affect your weight, can affect your performance. So just make sure you're eating those carbs smartly. So wrap AM workouts in carb pre, during, post, and taper carbs throughout the day as your body is not eating carbs for the rest of the regular day. So if you're doing your workouts in the morning, you're doing them over lunch. That's the most time, like breakfast, after, you do maybe a little morning workout where you don't have any nutrition beforehand. Afterwards, you're eating breakfast. That's a time, eggs, bacon toast, if that's your thing, or, I do overnight oats. So that's your time for carbs. Even if you're a cereal person, that's the best time to be eating it, especially that. And then over lunch, like when I was working during the day, I had to work over lunch. I would do my workout for my lunch, and I'd come and I'd scarf down my lunch, and usually it was like, a pizza, leftover pizza or something like that from home, not the greasy type. I'd try to get, thin crust or something like that, something a little bit more or less greasy. There are other things you can do for that. But, those are the opportunities, I guess, a baked potato or, I'll microwave a sweet potato and eat that for lunch. That's the time, you got a little bit more flexibility to eat carbs because your body's going to process it better and it's actually going to use it to improve your body and not just store it for fat calories. Because if you're not going to use it, then your body just says, well, I'm going to store it somewhere, and then it puts it on your body. It's not just going to go through your system and what you use just leaves your body. It's going to find something to do with all those calories. So the same thought process with over volume of food intake, bigger at the start of the day and dinner is just small as you prepare to sleep. 7-8 hours, your body needs minimal calories before work. So when you're sleeping, you're doing recovery, but you're just laying there. So you got the minimal operating system going on. So you don't need a bunch of carbs running around to do any kind of work. That's the time that you're, work on a little bit more protein balance, a little bit more healthy fats. Dinner should not be the huge mountain pile of food that we've kind of ingrained society that, that's the big meal of the day is dinner. We all get together and have 5 courses of meal or 5 courses of food. That's not the right time. That time, and especially I like to see people kind of, after about 8 o'clock, that's when you kind of cut off the food. So if you're doing dessert, eat it before 8. So if you're going to bed 9 or 10 or something like that, you are getting away from needing those calories or taking in those calories that are going to be useless later in the night because you're just going to eat them and they're just going to sit there while you're laying there sleeping. Your body doesn't need them. And there's certain circumstances if you're working really intense or you got some recovery and injuries going on, it would use it, but still. More carbs in the morning and earlier in the day. most of your calories at that point, and then taper off. And especially, you know, if you're getting a little bit tired, you kind of tapering your meals, your size of your meals, you know, you're ready for bed anyway. So if you're tired, a little bit worn down, that's the time to go to bed. So it all just kind of works out well. Personally, for me, what I found, and for my athletes, um, tapering off that carbs and the calorie count towards the end of the evening. That's not to say you couldn't eat a bunch of vegetables, you know, for dinner, but just stay away from the starchy carbs, you know, corn, you know, but green beans, peas, lima beans. Load up your plate with those types of greeny vegetables towards the evening. If you need more volume, you know, chicken breast, you know, fish, if at all possible, you know, beef, stuff like that. You know, I know in this busy lifestyle, there are ways to get it done. You know, I come home and I help get my kids ready for soccer, doing homework. I still have time to throw stuff in the oven. You got to plan it out in advance, but it can be done. It's very doable. The rule of thumb for macros daily. So we'll kind of go over this. Like I said, it's very high level. So 40% carbs, 30% fats, 30% protein. So that's kind of my rule of thumb, what I was using. And, you know, it's kind of based on your weight as well. So you want to go through and make sure you're looking at how many, you know, what's your weight, what's your kind of quote goal, race weight, you know, that kind of stuff later. But every meal won't have the same balance, but throughout the day, you know, you kind of think about it, you know, it's the old adage, you know, snacks, a handful is like apple and some like tuna, fish, or chicken, you know, shredded chicken. Or, you know, I love some lunches, you know, if I'm on the go, I'll just have a can of solid white tuna and then an apple and maybe, you know, cook a little bit of rice and put it on there. You know, you put a little bit of sweet and sour sauce on there and it's actually pretty tasty. It's not bad. But that's kind of my target is 40% carbs, 30% fats, 30% proteins. Those fats are healthy fats. So like coconut butter, nuts, maybe some a little bit of cheeses. You know, kind of I go for the organic peanut butters, you know, where you can actually identify all the ingredients. So that fat content's a little bit high, but especially for endurance athletes, you want to train your body to use those fats. So your nutrition throughout the day should be focused on that as well. So you want to be working those fats in for your meals as well, so your body learns how to process them more efficiently. So when you're doing your workouts over extended periods of time, you burn more fat instead of all carbs and winding up in a carb depletion during a race. So your daily nutrition will affect your racing and training performance if you're not eating the right amount of fats to get more fat adapted to race that way. So if you're doing a keto lifestyle, I guess you're kind of working that way anyway. But personally, I found when I kind of limit carbs, you know, about early afternoon, man, I'm just hitting the wall and I'm getting be toast. So I still put some carbs throughout my day and especially in lunch to kind of get that boost for the afternoon to make it home and make it through kids' activities, homework, and all that kind of fun stuff. So you can pause it here, kind of read over the slide a little bit more if you want the detailed information, but that's kind of the overall view of kind of what you're looking for as far as your daily nutrition, your kind of goals and rules of thumb. Like I said, I can't give you specific meal plans and that type of information. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, I do work with a few people, so we can kind of dig into that. So let me know. Another important one is don't skip meals. So if you end up, for whatever reason, you know, someone caters in lunch and it's barbecue and it's like, oh, I love barbecue. It's like, don't torture yourself. You know, don't go overboard, but don't skip out, you know, eat with everybody else. Don't feel like a leper that you have to go to the lunchroom and eat your tuna fish and rice. You don't have to. But don't skip meals. Don't say, well, I had a big lunch, so I'm going to skip my snack and my dinner. You know, if life gets in the way and you end up skipping a meal, then that's one thing. But if you're coming home and you're purposely skipping meals, you're going to cause yourself harm because it puts the body in starvation mode and makes you hold on to fat and it inhibits recovery. So you actually, you know, that the belly fat and all the other fat that people are wanting to lose, you actually hold on to that because you send your body in starvation mode if you've gone long periods of time without eating. There are some other theories about doing fasting and that type of thing, kind of boosts other stuff. But if you're doing a consistent basis over time, especially with endurance training, you're doing, you know, 3-4 hour bike rides, you're doing, you know, 13-20 mile runs, you're going to have issues if you're skipping meals, especially like after workouts, like I just don't have time, and you do your workout and you go do whatever, you're going to pay the price over time. You're going to end up injured, you know, little nagging injuries are going to build up over time. So take a hard look at daily intake. You may actually need more volume. So if you're run down, you're not losing weight, tracking your calories with MyFitnessPal or something, and you're just like, I can't lose weight no matter what I do, how much I work out, how much food I don't eat. You send your body into starvation. It holds on to everything. It's not going to get rid of it. So if you actually give it abundance, nutrition, good healthy food, your body says, well, I don't need to be in this deficit mode. So I'm going to go ahead and send everything up. Everything's going to start working better. You actually burn more calories that way. But when we're talking all this, I know everybody's running around. You got a busy lifestyle, so it's kind of hard. So, but I encourage people be leery of prepackaged foods. So if you got that on the stuff, on the go, most of it, for the most part, it's good intentions, but there are a lot of advertising, a lot of marketing, a lot of dollars tied into getting you to eating people's products. If you look at the sugar content, most of the sugar content, like, I don't want to throw bars, nutrition bars aimed at endurance athletes, there's a wad of sugar, and most of the time it's kind of your recommended daily intake of sugar is in one bar. So if you're thinking, well, I just grab a bar for my snack, instead of trying to pre-plan with, some nuts and a thing of yogurt, take a look at the nutrition. If there's information in there where you don't recognize the ingredients and the sugar is like 20 grams of sugar per bar, it may taste great and it may satiate your hunger for a minute, but excuse me, over time, that could be a source of not really losing weight, because if you're not intaking the good calories and the good nutrition, if it's 240 calories but 20 grams of sugar, then that sugar is just go in and it's just going to go to fat stores. So make sure you're cognizant of what you're putting in your body, especially with the prepackaged food industry. Stick to whole foods whenever possible. I keep hammering that home, and especially lifestyle where you're working during the day. I brought my lunch pretty much every day. I pack snacks, I pack my lunch, and I packed an afternoon snack. So it's usually yogurt and some peanuts, or it's going to be maybe some pretzel thins and some hummus. Hummus is a good source of fat. And I just kind of love this stuff. Be careful not to go overboard. But I know it's processed foods, but it's a little less. It's not those prepackaged bars. It's not like a TV dinner meal that has packed with sodium because they have to keep it fresh. I pack a sandwich for my lunch, or bring, like I said, leftover pizza. Let's be real. Whatever you're working with, bring it. But just try to avoid, going out to lunch every day, and that even adds up on cost. So if you're going out to lunch, your local restaurant, it may taste great, but after time, if you're struggling, you're like, I'm gaining weight and just not feeling good. If you're getting just loaded up at lunch on some great pasta down the street, maybe time to step back and take a look. Do they have healthier options at the restaurants? Or if you can bring your own food. Does your work have a refrigerator? I brought mine in a little bag and it had cooler packets in there, and it stayed cold all day, and it was great. It wasn't glamorous, but it worked. So be honest, be real with yourself. So I see we don't have any questions. So we've kind of spent 20 minutes going through all this information. And like I said, this is kind of a high profile, high level look. Today, we're just talking about kind of the daily nutrition, kind of how it adds up over time. So we're going to talk about more later, but specifically for you, Ironman 70.3 Des Moines people, we want to really kind of start thinking about that nutrition, especially like I said, we head into the holidays. A lot of people get tripped up. It's okay. Have a big Christmas dinner. Have a big Thanksgiving dinner. Just give yourself some grace and just kind of let yourself off the hook. But the rest of the days, kind of get back on track, kind of stay with a program that works for you, that at the end of the day, you don't feel starved. You're not hangry. You're not mad. You're not, your stomach's not growling. That's not good. Figure out ways, like I said, there are ways to get satiated and to eat healthy foods, and it can be done. And like I said, I'm not specifically a nutritionist, but I do work with some. So if you have any questions, you want to dive deeper into it with me, just give me a buzz, send me an email, send me a message, Facebook, reply to the emails, wherever works, and we'll talk about it and we'll get you on the right path. So don't see any questions. So that's going to be it for today. Stay tuned for the next call and enjoy the replay, and we will talk to you guys later.